Phil Cola, hail and well met, adventurer.
We meet like this so often, Griffin.
I know, we have to stop meeting like this, but the only way we'll stop meeting like this is if we stop doing fantasy-themed role-playing games.
And we won't ever do that.
And we never will. This is Neverwinter on Xbox One, MMORPG from Cryptic Studios that I actually played and reviewed, like 2 years ago?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, I don't remember when it came out, but it's now coming to Xbox One, which I kind of like. Kind of makes sense because it's a very action-oriented MMO with a very limited action set.
Sure.
So like the idea of it being ported to consoles has always made sense to me, and I'm definitely glad to see that it's made it here. There are some things that work pretty well, some things that are kind of rotten that I'll touch on as we go here. But have you played any Neverwinter?
Yeah, I played a teensy bit after your review when it came out. I mean, your review was fairly positive. You thought it was a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, it's a very I don't know. It's a very lightweight MMO, I would say, with a lot of like really cool ideas and almost like a sort of simplistic Diablo-esque take on like gameplay. Like you really only have a few abilities available to you at any given time, and using those abilities, I mean, it's pretty repetitive, like loot grindy stuff, but that's really satisfying when it's done right, and I think they do it pretty well here. There are also a bunch of really cool systems that it handles really nicely as well. I really like how it does crafting and a few other things. So yeah, it's a cool game, and it's free to play on the Xbox One. The way that they handle sort of the MMO stuff of abilities and all that is kind of reminiscent of Final Fantasy 14,
sure.
Realm Reborn, where you have the cross-action bars there, and then by tapping the left bumper, you can augment it to switch to a second set. So basically,
that system worked really well in Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah,
so.
But for my money, 14 and Realm Reborn is the best like MMO translation to a console.
Absolutely, yeah.
But that game is, I mean, that game is faster than some MMOs, but it's definitely, I think, a lot slower and more contemplative than
the difference between these two immediately is, as you mentioned, this is sort of a simplified in some ways. It's more Diablo-esque. It's more action-y.
Yeah.
Whereas Final Fantasy 14 or Realm Reborn that's a big, complex MMO.
A lot of classes still have like casting time, so there's still, stand still and, wait for your attack to charge. Like there's very, very little of that in Neverwinter. Neverwinter has a pretty distinct feel. In Neverwinter, there's no lock-on. You're aiming all your attacks manually. That's why you have that reticle there. And most classes have like a ranged attack that they use for that. So yeah, a lot of really cool stuff that Neverwinter does, and that stuff is still cool in this Xbox One version. And I don't know, if you've never played it before, I think it's pretty neat. If you've never really gotten into an MMO, I actually think this might not be a bad one to start out with, because there is some complicated shit going on, like the way that it handles currencies is kind of bizarre, but you can, with patience, you can wrap your mind around it. And yeah, it's fun to play, and it's very lightweight, and I dig it. Some things that are pretty rough, though. That interface is kind of ghastly. Like, it's kind of enormous. At certain points, like you'll get like a party window that takes up like a third of the screen, and then like a tooltip that takes up the top quarter of the screen, and then you'll have quests that take up like the right side of the screen, and you can manage.
It's not very minimal.
No, as far as I can tell, you can manage the opacity of that stuff, but there's no options that I found so far for managing the size. I may have missed something, but that's just one thing that's kind of a bummer. The bigger thing that is really rough is the visuals take a pretty severe hit from time to time. You may have seen a couple of times here just some weird lighting effects, like panels of the ground just like lighting up in a square for no reason at all, or like GUI elements just like disappearing when you turn around a corner. Like that stuff's, fine, not game breaking or whatever. The frame rate issues that this game suffers from, though, are just like terrible. They're really, really bad. So this is the main hub world, the Protector's Enclave, and whenever you get on screen with several other people, this is the type of place
where there's probably gonna be lots of people.
Yeah, and you're gonna be here for like a lot of the game. So here you can kind of see it chugging a little bit, And again, this is not like a combat zone, so like fine, if it's gonna be bad in one place, like let it be bad here instead of somewhere else. But it's pretty gnarly. Just sort of in general, like I don't even have, I would say, a top of the line PC, and the PC version runs like incalculably better on my PC than it does here, which is kind of a bummer, right? Because you don't want the console version, like the appeal of a console version of like playing an MMO from your couch. That's the appeal. But if it takes like a serious hit in getting there, like it sort of cancels, it sort of nullifies that appeal.
Yeah.
This is a skirmish event that I'm playing with a full party of other people, and my companion, the Jortsman.
The Jortsman, of course.
Faithful ward to Barry Blue Jeans. And even here, like, again, this is a skirmish where you're fighting off waves of zombies, so there's a lot of NPCs on the screen too, so that probably plays a hand in it as well, but the frame rate is just like, it's kind of gnarly. Not as bad as it is in the Protector's Enclave, but like, still not great. And that stuff typically doesn't bother me very much in these games, but this is such a like fast-paced, action-oriented MMO where you're already dealing with things like, minimal server lag and stuff like that, which fortunately hasn't been so bad for me so far. But when you add like jaggy frame rate in the mix too, like it really kind of hinders the experience.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure like what they can do to fix that either, because it's not like they've pumped the textures up to 11 or whatever. Like it doesn't look as good as
it doesn't
the PC
look,
version.
It doesn't look like something that should be causing problems for a new gen console.
Yeah, it's kind of disappointing, and like I'm not even sure that it should go with the territory of console MMOs, right? Because like
Final Fantasy XIV did kind of run like this on PS3.
Oh yeah,
but certainly not on PS4. So it's like it's very strange that that the Xbox One. It feels like it's less that the Xbox One can't handle this, and more that something in the translation here got messed up.
Yeah, I think that's definitely that's definitely more the problem than just the hardware itself.
Yeah. That zombie Hulk though.
Yeah. It's kind of a bummer because like I haven't played Neverwinter in a while. Like I've just moved on to other games. But I was like kind of looking forward to having this thing on my console that I can just like chill out and play in the living room, and get back into it. And it's a very easy game to like leave and pick back up, which you can't say about a lot of other.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's one of the things that always appealed to me about it. Is it seems like you can jump in and out really easily, and also the fact that it's free to play also helps with that, of course.
Yeah, sure. You don't have to worry about this subscription fee, hanging over your head or whatever. It's a really cool game. It's just not. The performance issues are so gnarly that like I can't really get psyched about getting really, really deep into it.
I do like how you slide away, though. That's pretty stylish.
Yeah, it's got one of the best like dodge mechanics of any MMO. Every class has that dodge mechanic, and like learning how to use it to bounce out of the way of danger zones is pretty satisfying. Like again, like I'm not to knock the game. I still think Neverwinter's a terrific game. It's just this is. I don't think this is like the best way to play it. I don't know. Hopefully, maybe they can do some.
Yeah, maybe with some patches and stuff, it could get improved. I'm sure that's always a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, I never like hold out hope for that kind of stuff, but we'll see. Anything's possible, especially in the realm of Dungeons and Dragons.
Anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
If you believe.